Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the IKoK bi-monthly chat. I am Essence Catharis, founder and one of the Krones of the International Koalition of Krones, and I want to thank you for joining us this evening, whether you're joining us live or in no time, no space, in the recording that will be shared later on our YouTube channel. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you all sharing information this evening and moving forward. Before we go any further, I would like to ask the other two IKoK Krones to introduce themselves and say hello. Okay, I see Ariane is ready. So Ariane, how about you go first?
Hello, everybody. I'm Aria. I'm from the far north of Queensland. And tomorrow and the next day in my hometown, we hold the Southern Hemisphere's only UFO festival. So being a crone, I have a witch's hat, talking with UFOs and aliens and things. I got the tinfoil hat as well, just to protect myself from any sort of like fallout or debris. So think it'll work? So I'm looking forward to today's talk. I won't leave it on all the time because everyone will be laughing, and I have to save it for tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to hearing what's being said today.
That's awesome, Aria. Thank you. I love it. I can't wait to get mine made. Okay, Kabaha, please.
How can I follow that? Good evening, everybody. My name is Kobaha. I live in Sedona, no, near Sedona. No, I don't live in Sedona, near Sedona, in Arizona. I'm a spiritual facilitator, intuitive and crystal therapist, and I'm honored to be here tonight. I hope you're going to enjoy the show, and thank you for joining us. Here we go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ladies. What a way to start the chat. Okay, here we go. Let me see. We're going to, like always, we want to begin our chat with the reading of the what we call the IKoK frequencies. Okay, and of course, those of you are familiar with me and the work that I do with Metatronic numerology, we always start with what are known as the I am keyword phrases. There are specific ones that are directly associated with the IKoK. But before this evening, before we read those, I want to share something. I've been led to share something about the I am phrase. What is that? What really is that all about? How does that work? This is something I wrote and shared a while back, so I'm just going to share it very quickly. The I am, okay, we're all familiar with that and we understand, okay, is a sound frequency used to anchor change into physical reality systems. Okay, so to state it very simply, when you add the OM, either OM or AUM, okay, OM, these are sounds that set the field of creation into motion. They are known as the primordial sounds of first movement out of the field of potentiality, okay, or the void. They are what set it into motion, all right? And they're frequency sounds that initiate that. But the I am, okay, the I am is after that first motion, okay, of out of the field of potentiality has begun and already moving, and there's then the intention. So the I am, this to me is, I'm going to say, I'm just going to go ahead and read you my notes and so we can get through this a little faster, okay? Words, spoken words are sound frequencies. What you are doing and what is transpiring when you speak these sacred, ancient, future sound frequencies is to intentionally begin the creation process and anchor it into physical reality. To use the I am creation anchoring sound frequency and the OM frequency most efficiently, they must be used free of ego within the individual self. If ego is in play within the individual, the power created is weakened and corrupted. But here, just so back to the I am, this I think, okay, like I said, the I am sound frequency is used to anchor change into physical reality systems. Quote is what I've written here of the frequency of the I am. I is the completed self through selflessness, rooted in universal love energy in service to others, laying the foundation of order, thus assisting in anchoring change into physical reality. Another way of saying that would be through the completion of the work on the individual self, the foundation of being of service to others and the collective is created, and thus the anchoring of change into the reality realm of physical matter begins, opening space for order to be restored and maintained. So the I am, that's what we are doing when you use those words, when you use those words intentionally and in the correct and proper frequency and mindset. Okay, so I wanted to just go over that. So with that stated, we're going to begin this evening's chat with reading the I am keyword phrases associated, first of all, with the IKoK in general. The first one is I'm doing this, if you just close your eyes, you don't have to worry about trying to remember or, interpreting in any way, really. It's more about, once again, the frequency washing over you. Just allow these words as you hear them and the energy that's created to flow over you and through you as you hear these. So just take a deep breath, center yourself, and relax as I read the I am keyword phrases. The main frequency of the IKoK, we call it the heart of the IKoK, is the 2266 dual. I am the master of divine balance. Through the remembrance of the singing of the sacred cosmic song of self, I ignite creation of new realities. I am that which rebalances and heals. The next frequency is the 2277 dual frequency. We call this the work of the IKoK and the four cornerstones of the work of the IKoK. I am the form of the sacred structure of collective reality known through the awakened divine rational mind. I build reality upon the foundation whose cornerstones are honor, integrity, responsibility, and expansion of sacred perspective. I am the master builder of collective galactic realities. And the third one, that is the work of the IKoK and frequency of the IKoK, is the 655 dual frequency. We call this the star seed I am frequency. I am that which is aware of the responsibility of clearly hearing the voice of love. I am responsible for anchoring love's message of rebalancing within the collective field of humanity. I am starseed. Okay. Thank you. So with that, we have now used those I am keyword phrases and those frequencies to create a sacred space within which to share this evening's information or today's information, whatever the case may be for where you're at. There are a few others, but that are relevant specifically to this chat for this evening, but we will read those in just a little bit. I want to go ahead and we're going to jump in fairly quickly here. As most of you are aware, I'm sure, the topic or the title, I guess you could say, which is always hints at the bigger portion of the information that we'll be sharing on a any given chat of this chat is titled Draconis Gnosis and Collective Dark Night of the Soul. Very simply stated, Draconis Gnosis, dragon wisdom, okay, is saying that there is sacred knowledge protected, and because dragons are protectors of sacred knowledge. Okay, so we are bringing wisdom back. Okay, I'm going to, here's where we're going to start here and get started. All right, here we go. On 7/27, on the 27th of July, so just, you know, not too many days ago, I was actually on the phone with Kabaha. I was walking, which is a habit. And while I was on the walk, I saw two clouds while I was talking to her, to my left, that were dragons. So it's like, wow. It's like, wow, Kabaha, look, there's two dragons there, you know. And then to my right, it was the half moon was rising in the sky. And it was in broad daylight, you know, which is normal, right? Half moon. So two dragons, the half moon. And just as soon as I saw them, these two, I made the, you know, saw this, then the neighbors has chickens, and their black rooster crowed. And when it did, it was like, there was no doubt that it was this amazing message from Spirit coming through, because what I actually heard in that moment was dragons fly, half moon rises, and the black rooster crows. And I take that back. There were 3 dragons, not 2. I remember now. Anyway, so got that message. So here, the message was in that moment, dragons fly, half moon rises, and the black rooster crows. And it was one of those things that you just can feel with every fiber of your being, and you know that it is a significant message. Okay, so we continue on, take time to recognize it and continue on there with our conversation. And then when I came in later, I went back to that message, and here's the interpretation of that message. The dragons are taking flight in order to bring wisdom back to the collective mind. The half moon rising visibly in the full light of day signifies the collective subconscious mind is beginning to stir, to awakening, to prepare for its journey into a collective dark night of the soul. A journey that has the potential to eventually lead humanity to becoming spiritually, mentally, and emotionally mature enough to face its dark mind and the full darkness of its most base nature. This is necessary in order to come into being reborn into the light of a new day. Light here implying wisdom. The wisdom to use the vast amounts of knowledge now accessible to the general populace properly. The black rooster crows. The black rooster's crow is calling humanity towards awakening to its higher nature, calling humanity to stand in full integrity, honesty, and dignity as the one mind of unity it is capable of achieving, calling humanity towards its destiny as conscious galactic citizens. So that was the message. Dragons fly, the half moon rises, and the black rooster crows. That began us on the journey of the information to be shared here this evening. With that stated, because I'm very soon going to turn this over to the other 2 Krones to share some information that they have that's very relevant about this collective dark night of the soul that the collective consciousness of humanity is moving into. I want to read these I am keyword phrases that are associated with this chat specifically. Okay, the 44 frequency. I am structured power and metamorphosis. The 844 dual. I am a channel. of the divine metamorphosis required to create a secure physical reality, obtained only through the mastery of wielding structured power. The 7-1-11 dual. Now, this was actually one of the frequencies of the last chat as well, okay? This frequency is one of the very few, 2 or 3, that over the years since I've been doing Metatronic numerology and receiving and retrieving the I am keyword phrases that has had an upgrade. And I started doing this in 2011 as Metatronic numerologist. It's only 2 or 3, but this is one that was, and it was actually upgraded, its message on 2/22/20, so February 22nd of this year, with the activation of the 444-22-22 dual Stargate portal. Just as an FYI, the original I am keyword phrase for the 7-1-11 dual came in on August 8th, August 21st of 2017, with the total solar eclipse on that date. All right, so you can see it's always, okay, but it is the 7-1-11 dual. I am the knowledge and wisdom found within self, necessary to unlock in order to set the multidimensional reality realm experience into motion. All right, so you can see with these 3 frequencies here, what we're talking about metamorphosis. We're talking about the creation of a new collective reality. Each and every one of these are frequencies and energies that weave together that are about metamorphosis. They are about creating, they're about setting a foundation, okay, for a new collective reality. Okay, I'm just listening, so give me just a moment. I apologize for that. Okay, I believe we're getting ready to Ariane in just a moment. All right, get ready, because she has information to share, and information and knowledge and wisdom to share associated with the dark night of the soul, most specifically related to the individual humans that each of us are. Okay, then Kobaha later is going to share information about the dark night of the soul, more for the collective overall. This morning, around just a few minutes after 6 this morning, Navari awakened me to write down this message, a little short message, but it's very relative, and it seems to need to go right here. And she simply said, relax. Let life manifest before you. Seems so simple, doesn't it? Yeah, seems so simple. Relax. Let life manifest before you. Ariane, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you, Essence. I like that. Let life manifest before you. It's perfect. I love it. The collective consciousness of humanity is entering its dark night of the soul. And what does that mean for the billions of individuals that make up the collective? How does it affect each of them? What might you expect on a personal level if you're drawn into that darkness? How will you deal with it? How long will it last? And most importantly, how do you recover? These are all sort of questions that I'm going to attempt to guide you with. Can't give you the answers, because within Dark Night of the Soul, you have to forge your own path through. I can't speak for everyone, because I can only speak for my particular journey. All I can do is say that if you go into Dark Night of the Soul as an individual, you won't be alone. There are a lot of people heading in that direction, because we're all part of the collective, and that is where the collective is heading. Okay. It sounds really dark and horrible, and it really is dark and horrible, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and letting it manifest itself, as in Navari's message, is an awesome thing to keep front and forward in the brain. Okay. The dark night of the soul is a possibility, an opportunity to take what you learn and to aim for the glorious future in full knowledge of who you are and why you are here. But it's not an easy road to take. And a lot of people enter that at the same time as a Saturn natal return, and that gives you a double whammy. It sort of makes it ultra tricky, but you can recover. So I've been there twice, both tied in with Saturn return. And I want to tell you the story of my latest visit into my dark night of the soul. And this is the one I understand the most, because for everyone here who's known me for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been in that place all that time at some level. I have only recently fully stepped out of it and gone through the metamorphosis that Essence spoke of. And for me, it's been an incredibly hard journey, but it's probably also been the most awesome journey of my life, because I know who I am and I know why I'm here. And that's an amazing thing to know. So under the last 12, for the last 12 months or so, I've undergone that metamorphosis. It's been intense. Excuse me. I've lost pretty much everything in my life. I've had everything wiped out. I don't even have the name I was born with, or any of the other names I've used in this reality. I now have my real name, and it's been a change that is deeper than pretty much anyone will ever understand. And excuse me, I've got a tickle. But my story actually started on September the 14th in 2014. That's when I entered my dark night of the soul. I received a phone call. I was already depressed and anxious. I had lots of things going on in my life that made life tricky and difficult. And I envisaged the dark night of the soul as like this deep tunnel that goes right down into the earth. It's muddy, it's slippy, it's slimy. There's quicksand at the bottom that you get caught in. And I was teetering on the edge already. And then I got this phone call from a government official who decided that I was the scapegoat for some company I wasn't a part of that had done all sorts of things wrong, and I was going to go to jail for it. And totally nothing to do with me, but that is what drove me over the edge. Completely fell into that well of despair. I actually spent several days curled in a ball in my garden, couldn't stop crying. It was a horrible place to enter into. And there's lots of misinformation out there in social media worlds about Dark Night of the Soul. You hear things, you know, like, oh, you're feeling down, you're feeling da-di-da-di-da. Well, you could be in your Dark Night of the Soul. Sorry, that's not it. It doesn't last a few days, it doesn't last a few weeks, or even a few months. For most people, it goes on 4 years. For me, next month will see my 6th year since I entered this. And although I believe I am fully out of it, I've done that a few times on the journey as well. So yeah, there's always a possibility that there's still something to clear, to sort out. I'm going to try and explain from that individual perspective how it happens. I think I've probably already done that. I've jumped from my notes, jumping around a little bit. But it's what Dark Night of the Soul is. It's an absence. It's an absence of everything that you hold dear on the physical, on the mental, and the emotional, and the spiritual levels. Everything gets held up in front of you, pushed to one side, thrown out, just disappears. On the physical, I literally lost everything in my life. Family, friends, home, work, everything. That was the physical. The emotional is pretty obvious from going through that, and the mental side of stuff is worse than the deepest depression you could ever consider. On the spiritual, now that's a whole different picture. About a week after I entered that deep dark tunnel, new people kept coming into my life, people who are following a spiritual path. I wasn't at that time, but these people were coming into my life, and what on earth are you? You know, great, new friends, whatever, I need support, let's go for it. A month after I entered my dark night of the soul, life was really not in a good place at all. But I'm a belly dancer. I went away to belly dance camp, and there I experienced what I call my initial spiritual awakening, which was an intense, painful, beautiful, horrible, ecstatic experience that went on for many hours. And if those people who had entered my life like those weeks beforehand hadn't been there, I'd have been in a mental home. I was in that bad a place. But those people were there, and they supported me, and they understood me, and they helped me to understand where I was. I still didn't fully understand about Dark Night of the Soul until I met Essence, and she helped guide me through those stages, through those early stages. So when you're in that Dark Night of the Soul, and this will happen on the collective as well as the individual, but Freddie Kobaha will talk more about that. But what it is, you've got nothing left. There is nothing left. You get to start again. And one of the things that I found is that you have tools. You have tools in your arsenal, tools that you've built in your general life that will help you get out of this. And those tools are strength and determination and courage. So as we all start to hit this period in humanity's history, draw on those tools, work out that you hold them, tell yourself you hold them, find them, strength, determination, courage, because they are what's going to bring you out of there. As you work your way through this period, you're going to have all sorts of dramas coming into your life. At least this is what happened to me. Dramas come into your life that stir things up, that force you to look into who you are, why you're here, your beliefs, what you think about you, what you think about other people, what you think about life in general. Every single belief you hold, you are going to be asked to do the deepest mirror work you can, the deepest shadow work that you can, to get yourself to understand exactly what you believe in, that, to change your beliefs if you need to. My belief, I'm not worthy, I don't have a voice, I'm just, you know, this little dancer that sort of sits in the corner and does nothing. That is not who I am, but it's taken me 64 years to learn that. And it was going through that sort of night of the soul that taught me that I am not that person who fell in that thing, in that hole. So that hole is horrible. It's not a nice place to be. It's the darkest, most awful place to be. But it's also your biggest opportunity for growth. And as Essence said before, as humanity, the collective consciousness of humanity starts to enter this place, if we can recognize that it is that biggest opportunity for growth, it's that biggest opportunity to understand who we are, why we were here. If humanity can draw upon those strengths that we have, we are strong, we can be determined, and above all, humans have courage. Humans go into a burning house to rescue a child. Humans will do what they need to do to get through life and to help others. If we can draw upon those strengths, and I've just gone really spooky, then we are going to succeed. Okay, those dramas as well, they cycle. So you'll go through something and you think, got that one lit. I know that, I understand that. And a little while later, that same drama will come back again in a different form, but it's the same energy. And you go, I remember that. I can get through it faster. And so you end up, that's how you get out of that deep dark hole, is spiraling up with strength, determination, and courage. So I know 100% who I am. I am Ariane Lay. That name was given to be my guide, and it is my starseed name. It is me. The names I've used in the past are not me. I know who I am deep inside me. I know why I am here. I have that confidence, that courage, that strength, and that determination to go forward into my life from this point forward. And it's going to be an awesome, amazing life, because I've learned so much, and humanity has that opportunity to do it. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be a ride in the fun park. But as long as we maintain those tools, strength, determination, and courage, and we look to the bigger picture, to that light that appears at the top of the tunnel and gets bigger as you spiral up, we can do this. We can absolutely do this. You have to travel within, you have to look at what's inside you, and you have to develop that little seed and make it grow. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing such personal information. That's amazing. That's an honor. And we truly appreciate that. You know, that's courage and strength in itself.
Courage, yeah, it is courage and strength, because, as I say, I've been, as you know, I've been doing this pretty much the entire time that I've known you. But you keep smiling. You get that choice. You get the choice. You can either sit in that hole, in that quicksand at the bottom and go, pull me, pull me, pull me. Oh, the world is bad. I got it. Or you can take those tools and you can spiral through all the drama and the mess and everything and get yourself out the top with a smile. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. It made me think of my yoga teacher, my yoga master. She's constantly reminding us, and it is, man, the first time she said it, and as I don't remember what pose I was trying to hold, but one definitely outside of my comfort zone, my physical comfort zone. But I remember she said, and I use this every day, and I'm going to share it here in the hopes that for those it resonates with, it is that need to get comfortable, because this is part of what it's going to take to help us come through this collective dark night of the soul, because like it or not, and I think any of us who are on this path and understand this at any level at all, can look out across the great expanse of this planet right now and humanity and see. I'm fond of saying you don't have to be a psychic to be able to know this one, to tell it. You can see what's happening. We can see that this collective is headed into the dark night of the soul. We don't even necessarily need all of the messages from spirit, whether the astrology, the astronomy, the numerology, all of the tools that we use. You can see it. You can see it. I put up a meme today or yesterday, I can't remember it verbatim and I don't have it right in front of me, but it was something to the effect of, I know without a doubt humanity's in trouble. There's no doubt in my mind it is right now. But I also know that humanity is amazing and beautiful and strong, as every bit as exquisite as this planet we live on. And both humanity, at the core, humanity's core is beautiful and exquisite. And the planet and humanity both are worth every effort it would take to save them. That's where we're at, okay? And that as starseeds, okay? I want to take a couple of things before I turn this over to Kobaha to share her information with what Ariane has shared. The dark night of the soul, to maybe say it in a little more concise way, is a complete crumbling away of everything you believe. Everything you believe reality is, okay? Not every person's dark night of the soul may be as difficult as Ariane's, but don't think that a lot aren't, because they are, okay? But part of the reason for that is because when we struggle against, okay, it's the tug of war against what we're being shown to have to look at. And the more you struggle against it, and I'm not saying that Ariane did, everyone's got their own journey. I'm just saying these are some of the tools that, that lead to that. But just like the Saturn return, when you struggle against it, okay, you're more likely to make it more difficult, because you're actually just feeding it the tension. Yes, ma'am, you have something you want to say, Ariane?
I just wanted to say that I did struggle against it, and I struggled against the Saturn natal return, but primarily I struggled because I wasn't aware. And
right.
I didn't have any information such as we're imparting now to help me understand where I was and to be able to deal with it appropriately. I didn't have those tools. And not until Essence sort of gave me a, you know, a quick direction push, let's say. So thank you. Yeah, I did struggle, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
No, but it's still going, because that's what a dark night of the soul. It is a crumbling away of everything that no longer serves, that needs to go, because so that you can move forward. Okay. And but just like Ariane said, with this, it leads to, just like the message of the dragons and the half moon and the black rooster. Okay. It leads to the rebirthing. So in, you know, if you wanted to say it even more simply, you could say that the dark night of the soul is a spiritual death and rebirthing, you know? Okay, but very much understanding what is going on makes it easier, okay, in the sense of, at least you have some kind of, you know, even though it may be difficult in everyday life and emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, all these things, just knowing, yeah, this is what it is, and I'm just going to keep working, you know, helps. It does help. There was something else. I'm hearing again, one more time, relax. Let life manifest before you. Boy, if we can just remember that in those even in the everyday stresses. Yeah, I'm going to try to remember that the next time my grandbaby is running through the house, and I'm going, if you don't stop, I'm going to go relax. Let life manifest before you. You know, in other words, everything, the most mundane to the most highly spiritual, we'll just use it that, okay? There's something else here. I'm looking for it. Give me just a moment. Is there anything? And I'm sorry, just one moment. I apologize. That it can wait. That can wait. Okay. With that stated, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue with the information share about the dark night of the soul. But now we've looked at it with Ariane's information and her sharing more from the individual perspective. Now we want to look at it with what Kobaha has to share from the collective perspective and what it can mean for us. So Kobaha.
Thank you, Essence. And I would like to thank Oriane. Beautiful. I felt the passion. It was perfect. Thank you. Now, if you bear with me, I'm going to read my notes. I had to think hard. It took me about, I would say, 2 days to write those notes. I went quite deep, and I went right down to the core of the soul of the collective, just to feel what was happening. But the message is going to be positive at the end of the day. So bear with me, I'm going to read my notes. I'm sure you have all noticed that collectively we have been called to go within for the past few months. With many of the normal distractions and busyness of day-to-day life suddenly stripped away, combined with a surge of fear and uncertainty around health, this has triggered some of us to go within to find our personal truth. Humanity is entering into a collective dark night of the soul right now. There has been a lot of gunk in the collective unconscious for so long that it has come to a point where it has to come up and be addressed. This is a natural purging process that has to happen sooner or later. The sooner we address the shadow aspects we have on a personal and collective level, the sooner we will see the dawn of a bright new day for humanity. If you've been through a dark night of the soul yourself, then you likely already know that while incredibly difficult, it directly precedes an awakening. The dark night of the soul is a wake-up call and a key mile marker on the soul's journey into living in greater light, peace, and connection. After every dark night of the soul, there is a bright day. and it may appear darkest just before it comes. How will we, as the collective consciousness of humanity, redefine our future reality? This is going to be a collective decision that mobilizes the collective consciousness towards either a balanced future or a non-balanced one. By collectively facing our own mortality and all that's been hidden in the shadows and buried beneath the surface of the conscious mind, we begin to question the deeper meaning of life and why we are really here. The dark night of the soul is one of the most challenging times on the path, but it can also be essential. It strips away all that no longer serves. And with this happening on a global level, it shows us that we are not in control. It shatters the false identities we have created to feel safe and exert control over our own life. There is a need of purging collective belief systems that no longer serve us. We held them for many decades, sometimes hundreds of years. Just as we individual consciousnesses have karmic imbalanced energies to rebalance and release, so too does the collective consciousness of humanity as the individual consciousness it is. This karmic imbalance is directly related to misses and abuses of sacred technology in Atlantis. It is associated with all types of technology, including, but not limited to, technology used in war, control of populations' behaviors, and their health. This collective karmic imbalance is being brought ever nearer to the surface of the conscious mind of humanity at this time, because we are now ready to begin taking on clearing it and rebalancing its effects as a collective. We can see just how unbalanced some people have become today. It seems that there was never more imbalance, uncertainty, instability, and suffering. It brings all sorts of issues for people, including disempowerment, hopelessness, frustration, and anger. Each one of us has an assignment. It is likened to tending to our gardens and pulling out the weeds. To see a bright future for ourselves and humanity, we need to all address the darkness within us first. It's an incredible time to heal, even though it can be hard and painful. Humanity may be waiting for guidance and understanding on how to navigate the world without falling into old patterns and traps. And we, as starseeds, have an opportunity now to be of service, to step up and into service now in the way that is right for us. Navari, the Earth liaison of the Intergalactic Board of Governance, said, I quote, "Walk softly, stand tall, speak gently, hold compassion for all." This is how you, as starseed, incarnate in human form, lead the way out of the COVID-19 global situation and help show the way forward in the restructuring of your global society. End of quote. As a starseed, I would also like to remind you that we are not here to save the planet. We are here to raise our vibration and hold space for the collective consciousness of humanity to create a new reality. When we share and hold space for others to share, we work together collectively and in harmony. We could be in the process of co-creating an entirely different reality. If we do, virtually nothing would be the same. Humans work within paradigms in the 3D world. So let's make sure the new paradigm we create is one that takes into account everyone being part of the same interconnected and interdependent network of consciousness, so that we can all thrive and continue in our journeys in a way that is more balanced. As the American politician W.J. Bryant once said, destiny is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. By addressing everything that needs to come up during this collective dark night of the soul, we allow for humanity to go forward with a greater possibility of thriving. All the changes and uprisings we are witnessing in the world, environmental, political, racial, financial, medical, and gender inequality, are indicators of a revolutionary shift in consciousness. These external stirrings are activating our personal shadows, reflecting the changes that must occur internally if we are to birth a new reality for the collective consciousness of humanity. Change begins with me and with you. We have to dig deep within our own psyche and find the blocks that prevent us from truly opening our heart to love and compassion for all beings. We have to align with a deeper truth and what really matters. And you matter, I matter, we matter. As a collective, we can make a difference. It is time to rise up together against the direction we are correctly going in, but we may have to face our own shadow in the process and clear away all the thoughts and beliefs that no longer serve the person we are becoming. The more we align with the energy vibration of love, the more we increase our consciousness and the more we contribute to the global shift in consciousness to one that is so much more loving, nurturing, and compassionate. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Kobaha. Wonderful information. Very appreciative. As I was listening and feeling the energy of the message, what would I say? What would I say? I would say that in this belief system, we talk endlessly, seems like, about star seeds, light workers, whatever term you want to use, okay, that we came here at this point in time, okay, this memory point on the fabric of space and time, because it is so significant about what's changing. And as that is filtered, as that knowledge and information is filtered through human filters, mind, thoughts, processes, lifespans, it gets a little lost, confused, distorted. You know, we tend to think that all of this journey is going to be completed in our lifetime, in one short human lifetime. It'd be nice, and energetically it is possible. Is it probable? Not likely. I mean, just be honest, you know, not likely. Now, with that stated, it is still an amazing point and reason we are here. Okay, I'm going to just let the message and the energy flow. We came here as the sparks of divine oneness, universal consciousness that we are, to be here at this specific point in this specific reality realm experience for this experience. Okay, we're going to look at this from different levels of perspective here, because all of these different levels of perspective help us as the human we are, if we can remember them in the moment, in the human moment. Because, you know, whether we like it or not, we're all here encased in a human form, and being encased in a human form, there are limitations and requirements that we have agreed to be a part of, but that doesn't mean that we cannot awaken our consciousness and keep our perspective expanded from this small, confined box that is the human perspective. It is when we do that that we become so much more. Kira, several months ago, made a statement, and I keep going back to this. This keeps popping up because it's so true. It's so relative. At this point in time, it is no longer enough to be just human. What she was saying by saying that statement was that we have got to keep our perspective expanded beyond just the everyday small human mindset. We have got to shift our default perspective. In other words, what we fall back to automatically without even thinking about it, our default to becoming galactic, because that's where we're headed. That's what this work is about. Okay. Now, granted, it has to be done. This collective dark night of the soul has to be done every bit as much as the individual individual dark nights of the soul have to be done for those who are at those points who require that for their journey. And those who require that for their journey are the ones who make that decision. That is truly your decision. I know it's nobody wants to, I didn't choose that. Well, okay, whatever. Yeah, they're laughing at me. They're always laughing at me. But it's true. Okay, but that's okay. It's okay. There's no judgment here. It's a journey. Everybody's got a journey. You know, believe you me, I went through mine. You know, was it easy? No. Did it suck? Oh yeah. But did it make me more than human in my thought processes, in my perspective, in my understanding of reality? Yes, it did. Did it allow me to create a new reality for myself? Yes, it did. When I created that new reality for myself, because of my perspective shift, because of my understanding that reality is more than just, boy, and sometimes it doesn't seem like it, believe you me, than doing dishes, scrubbing toilets, and going grocery shopping. But, you know, that's that human part that has to be done. But even in the moments of scrubbing the toilets, you're still more. You're way more. You got to remember it then. You got to remember it then every bit as much as you have to remember it when you're deep in meditation, when you're standing in those higher frequencies. Because in all honesty, it's more important, if you ask me, that you remember it when you're doing the dishes. It's more important that you remember that the way it's been said to me by members of my crew, as I call them, which are my guides, the higher self and all that, okay, is you're not human. What you are is starseed camouflaged in a human form. And you forget that you're starseed. Every human is not starseed. Okay? Every human's not. That's why we're here, though. We're here. We came here to raise frequency, to hold it at a level. Okay? Just like Kabaha shared, and I'm not sure Ariane may have mentioned it too. Starseeds did not come here to save humanity. It's not your job, it's not your work. What your work is to raise the frequency on the planet. How do you do that? You awaken from the fact that you're more than just human. And you remember it in every moment as you're driving the kids to school, as you're teaching school, as you are mopping the floors, as you are working at the bank, as you are whatever you're doing, you remember it all the time. And you raise the frequency and you hold the space for humanity to raise its frequency and to awaken, to become more, to become what it has the potential to become. We're going to start flowing information. My specialty. So hang on to your seats. Okay, you don't necessarily have to remember all of it. Just take what sticks with you. Here it comes. Here comes part of it. All right. The 17.8 ATKI. Okay. Atlantean technology, karmic imbalance. Kabaha mentioned it. Okay. I have shared information about that. That information came to me through Metatronic numerology, my guides, my crews several years ago, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, and I've mentioned it in probably almost every chat we've had, which, by the way, this is what, number 7? This is chat number 7, okay? But I've not gone into a whole lot of detail, so we're going to look at it just a little bit closer, what it is, okay? And what it does and what it's related to, okay? The 17.8 ATKI was created by misuse and abuse of technology, sacred technology, mundane technology, because in all honesty, all technology is sacred. By the way, the mundane 3D reality, as we call it, that everyday world of scrubbing toilets, that's sacred too, by the way. It's just as sacred as sitting in meditation in an ashram. That's hard to remember, isn't it? Especially in the moment. I know I keep saying scrubbing toilets because I hate scrubbing toilets. It's just one of my things, okay? So I figure that's why that one keeps coming up. It's sacred. Everything is sacred. There is nothing not sacred. Reality is sacred. This journey is sacred. 17.8 ATKI was a misuse and abuse. It covers absolutely everything, okay? Technology, war, your car, okay? It can be all of these things. It's the food, it's the manipulation, okay? Now, technology, let's make this really understood here. Technology is not evil. Technology is not something to be avoided. Technology is what we're going to have if we're going to become galactic, if we're going to physically begin traveling galactic. And if you think that we're going to do it without technology, well, then maybe you need to go to the UFO conference with Ariane and learn a little bit more about some UFOs and their technology. Okay? There's nothing to fear about technology. The only thing that has to be feared is the misuse and abuse. Now, the 17.8 ATKI is a collective karmic imbalance that was created because of the misuse and abuse of technology in Atlantis. What we are currently dealing with now, this virus, is a choice this collective consciousness of humanity has made, a subconscious choice, granted, okay, in how to deal with. We were told about the 17.8 ATKI, I want to say it was either 2013 or 2014 when it first came up. And it was just kind of a nonchalant, oh, by the way, there's this thing coming that y'all are going to have to deal with type thing, okay? And as time went on, it got, okay, you know, that thing we told you you're going to have to deal with, it's getting closer. Oh, and then more time went on, and then, hey, we're telling you you're going to have to deal with this, and boom, we're dealing with it. This was the way this collective chose to manifest an event, because remember, it's all an illusion. It's all a play on a stage. It's all consciousness. We're creating our reality, just like we talked about. We're constantly talking about. So this collective chose something. Well, I mean, think about it, really. You know, I'm sure there were other things, but in the moment, I can't think of what would have been any more effective to truly, globally. This is the first time this collective consciousness of humanity in this current reality timeline experience has ever had a full, truly 100% global experience. It had to be. It had to be. We're not going back. There's no going back. Everybody keeps hearing that. We all, and even I, you know, I think we're all getting kind of tired of this term, the new normal, but you know, really that's what it's going to kind of be. Right now is what we're doing. We're creating a new normal. And I'll be perfectly honest, the new normal that we're creating, and when I say we, I'm talking about this collective consciousness of humanity, I'm not impressed. I'm not the least bit impressed, and I do not want to have to live this the rest of my human lifetime, much less send this forward for descendants. Okay? With that stated, I want to read a message that, once again, this was from Navari. Navari, the IKoK was actually created at the behest, and it always has to be that word behest for some reason. At the 1st of May of 2020 in response to the coronavirus. It's like, now she had come in, granted, she'd made contact, the intergalactic, she's the Earth liaison for the Intergalactic Governance Board, and she'd made contact with me back just at the very 1st of September, might have been the last of August of 2019, just in time for, and we're going to talk about this some more because I've got some significant dates that I'm just going to throw at you here in a little bit of what's coming up, some activations and work that we're going to be doing. At least we're going to be doing it, and you're welcome to join us, bottom line. But anyway, she came just in time to be a part of it and to lead what is the planetary soul star chakra activation. That was the first of activations of many that are coming. Okay. So on the 4th of July, we received this message. It said, please realize and understand the choices made by this, your collective, between the timeline points of July 4th, 2020 and November 7th, 2020, at the outside, November 11th. Will determine the collective reality timeline experience for the next 10 to 12 and a half years of your linear time, Earth time. This is also true for your individual reality experience choices. Remember, each human plays a part in the creation of the collective reality experience, your outer shared reality, but each individual, you, is responsible, fully responsible for your individual reality experience, your inner reality, or how you choose to perceive and experience the outer collective reality. So what she's saying there is, between now, let's just say between now and mid-November, it is extremely important for us individually to get ourselves straight, to walk away from what no longer is serving. Remember, we talked about that last time. I'm going to read you the message, another message that she sent on, this is the 30th. Now that was on the 4th of July. This is on the 30th of July. I'm doing this. I've been doing this for a few months now, and I know the other Krones are doing this as well in their own way. Each of you, I'm going to suggest you do this in your own way as you feel is necessary for you. But she said it's time to reevaluate and adjust your cyber presence, meaning your social media and online connections. It's time to go through those connections with a fine-tooth comb. Time to disconnect with disharmonious frequency emitters, meaning people, situations, stories, beliefs, relationships, etc., that are too far energetically distant from the frequency field you desire to create, feed, maintain, and exist within. Now, that's important for a lot of reasons. Right on the surface, you can see why that's important. But for what's coming up, and what's coming up for the work that I do, and therefore a lot of the work that the IKoK does, is 2020 is the year humanity goes galactic. We're getting ready to do a lot of energy work. I'm all about the energy and the frequency, remember? Okay, we're getting ready to do a lot of work. If you want to be a part of it, you're more than welcome to be a part of it. I'm going to stop there for a moment. There's a lot more information, but it's going to kind of switch gears or switch topics a little bit, leading us forward. So I don't know which one of you ladies feel you need to go first with your information that you still have to share. I'll let y'all decide. Okay, you ready? All right, Kobaha, here we go. Your turn.
My turn. Actually, Essence, some of the information I've got, I'm going to repeat myself, but hey, that's fine. Now, during one of our informal chats, Essence asked me to pick up 2 cards just for our brainstorming session about this chat. So I basically used, of course, the Starseed Oracle. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah? Oh, yeah, okay. Because I thought I didn't have the sound. And 2 cards actually popped out. And the messages are so connected to what we've just been talking about. The first one is called Earth. Learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. I repeat that. Learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. So what immediately sprang to mind, I'll talk about the second card in a few minutes. As Essence mentioned, as Starseeds, we have to be reminded here. First of all, we came here to have a human experience, okay? So we're living in the 3D. It's not always easy, but that's part of the contract. And I know some people sometimes, some starseeds have an issue with that. They can't cope living in the 3D. And they have tendency to be longing to be closer to home. They do a lot of meditation, a lot of astral traveling. They go to highest realm, trying to avoiding to live in that 3D reality. But at the same time, we are also reminded we came here as a starseed to do some work with energy, to keep our vibration high, to hold space for the collective to move forward. And I would like to say specifically, because we actually as Krones noticed that for the past few months, some starseeds have been completely going to an extreme where they totally could be subconscious. It could be due to fear as well. They've decided totally to forget about their contract as a starseed of working with energy and went for an extreme dealing with conspiracy theory. So the danger is, to me, the line is very thin between being aware of what's happening in the 3D and being detached and observing, to totally going into that extreme of sharing information about conspiracy theory, because it can be such a trap. The advice I would give to these people is, remember, I'm not telling you not to have an opinion or not standing in your truth or telling the truth. Absolutely, it's part of it to be human as well. But bear in mind not to fall into that trap where it is difficult to get out of it, okay? So tell your truth, share some information, but remember, you need to keep your vibration high in some ways and hold space. So that's the first information coming out of that card. Okay, I'll show it to you. The second card, I was not surprised, is about deep cellular healing, physical and emotional healing. That's an important part. Again, if you think about it, going through a dark night of the soul, we have to go very deep, looking at our shadow self. And sometimes we need to go through some major healing. So this card is basically telling us we need to focus not only on the healing in a practical way, but our health is a priority during these unprecedented times. I know I'm a broken record. I've been saying that for weeks. So important to be balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. It's so important at the moment. The other message as well is to be grounding. Grounding energy is very, very important. And basically nourish ourselves and treat ourselves with tender care. So that's basically the messages I got for this program and for next week, but they are so connected to what we've just been spoken about. Here we go, Esther.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ariane, didn't you have some more information about animal totem message? Something?
We do have a message this week. I've been sort of blown away by the number of birds that keep cropping up in the IKoK with messages, and I really shouldn't be that surprised because birds are, after all, spirit messengers. And I'm Crow Medicine. I attract birds to me, and we have another bird joining us today. His message is for guidance, not just for this coming week, but I think it's going to be something that's worthwhile remembering going forward through this next whole stage of humanity's travelling. This bird's a fascinating creature. He's actually the fastest being on this planet. He's been recorded at travelling of speeds of 242 miles per hour, which is astronomical. It is. It's like, ah! So anyway, he doesn't do that as he's flying that way. He does that as he comes straight down in a dive, straight towards Earth. This bird can be found on every single continent except Antarctica. Here's Falcon. Falcon's an incredible hunter. He's ruthless, he's a dominant predator, and he operates primarily on instinct. Most of his brain power is devoted to his eyes and to that instinct. His sight is 8 times better than the best human sight, and he can see ultraviolet rays. And not only is he really fast, that 242 miles per hour just completely blows my mind. He's not only that fast, but he's also incredibly strong, and he can take down prey that's 6 times his body weight. He has strength, he has courage, he has determination, the very 3 tools I was talking about in the dark night of the soul. And so what's his message for us? Again, that's very simple. It's only 5 words this time. Success depends upon your actions. So as humanity moves deeper into that dark night of the soul that we're really heading into, this message is going to gain more importance. It's possible within that dark night of the soul to become very unfocused, to wallow, to get sucked into that quicksand, into becoming, as Koba has said, like the starseeds who are working at the extreme, and not to be able to move forward. Falcon is extremely focused. His brain works on 2 levels, instinct and sight. That focus that he has isn't distracted by anything. He just doesn't have it in his brain power, but it's intense focus. He soars high above, and he seeks clarity and knowledge. So he's up there, hopefully more than 242 miles away. He's got a deep dive. It blows my mind. But what he has is he's seeking clarity and knowledge. He's looking down with that amazing eyesight to the earth and seeking knowledge of what he needs. And then he makes up his mind. Is this going to succeed or is it not going to succeed? and then he chooses his action. And that is the thing we have to remember. His success or failure is based on gaining clarity, gaining knowledge, using his thought process to, is this a viable proposition, and then gets into the action. Success depends upon your actions. Falcon symbolizes freedom and victory, vision, wisdom, determination. And above all, his message talks of self-responsibility. Success depends on your action. No one's going to hold your hand going forward. You make your choices where you're going to go, and then you follow that path. Only you are responsible for the path, so choose wisely. Don't enter the swift dive unless you are sure of the result. And as we've mentioned so many times before, remember, you as Starseed are not here to save humanity. Humanity can do that for themselves. We're here to maintain the energy. Success depends upon your actions. Message from Falcon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ariane. I was looking for something. Sorry. There it is right in front of me. Imagine that. That's amazing energy. 242 miles an hour. Wow. I'm not a speed demon.
For me, that 242 miles an hour seems about as likely as that little green fella walking across the lounge. But it's been recorded.
And yeah, I didn't realize that about Falcon. I mean, I knew they were fast, but I didn't know they were that fast. Okay, that is amazing. Really good. You know, focus and intuition. I mean, just those two words, focus and intuition. You know, trust yourself. You know, stay focused, stay mindful, stay in the moment, relax, let life manifest before you. You know, all of those things. Okay. Does anyone who's here with us this evening live have anything they would like to say right now or ask or anything before we, if they do, you can go ahead and you can either unmute yourself or raise your little cyber hand or type it in the chat. You know, whatever might be the case, whatever you're comfortable with doing. Before we move into, I want to share some more information. I told you I've got several dates here now. Don't necessarily have to remember these dates that the information will be coming forward. I just want to really kind of give you an overview of what's coming up energetically for us to do between now and the end of this year. Okay, and even beyond that, in all honesty, at least through September of 2022, slightly, and that's related to the last week's, or not last week's, but the last chat a couple of weeks ago with that 777 tiers. Remember, we talked about that, the 777 days from July 22nd through September 7th of 2022. And what that meant. I want to, before we get into it, because I told everyone that I want to mention, even on the last chat, we mentioned about the Chrysolite. And there's been, I know a lot of people have been searching for the Chrysolite Stone. There's been a little confusion about what that is, and that's understandable. It was confusing for us too in the beginning, but there was a very specific reason why the information was shared the way that it was, you know, and I even mentioned in the last chat that there were other stones besides the Chrysolite, and that we would be sharing. I'd be sharing those stones that can be used with the 777 days of work. And I'm going to go over a little bit in more detail what that work is, you know, just as a refresher here in a minute. So the other stones, because the Chrysolite really is not a particular stone. It is a general name, word, term, whatever you want to say, for a certain type of stone. But really, if you're, what falls under the category of Chrysolite would be either peridot, which is a more rare, more expensive stone, or olivine, which is the less, it's more abundant and less expensive. Now, it seems to be, it's interesting that, you know, those stones are having, you know, people are having some issues finding and understanding. So, but the other stones, so you can use peridot, you can use olivine. All right. I myself have been, because I have peridot, so I've been using that. I don't have, to the best of my knowledge, olivine, but I've also been using prehnite, okay, which is now, these are so like some alternatives to the chrysolite, okay. You could use chrysoscala, even a green jade or green quartz. Now, when we shared that at the last chat, I said, okay, the chrysolite is what we're suggesting everyone look for. You know, if you can still find those things that come under that, either the peridot or the olivine, that's perfect. Preferably, in all honesty, the rough, untumbled, in other words, not polished, of those two is even the more, which in as far as financially, money wise, that would be even less expensive, just FYI. Now, the other stones that can be used for the 777 days work. Now, remember, the 777 really is a frequency wave. And in very general, basic terms, we can say that it is a frequency wave, it is the frequency wave of responsibility. Okay. I've got some dates and information I'm going to share about the time frame of the 777 days here in just a minute. But the other stones that you could look for are a Herkimer diamond, moldavite, and granite. So all of those stones also. And here's just some little bit of information, basic information for the Lemuria work. That we haven't really talked a whole lot about the Lemuria work lately, but for the decade of 2020, if you are doing work with Lemuria for the entire decade, there's a combination, a specific combination of a stone and a metal that are very conducive to doing any type of work with Lemuria, and that is granite and gold. Now, that doesn't mean you have to, you know, have a gold nugget or something like that. You can, the gold can be, you know, in any form, maybe a gold chain, a gold piece of jewelry. In other words, just gold, okay? But granite and gold. Personally, I think I'm going to look into just finding, I've got some larger pieces of granite. I've actually got 2 pieces of granite that friends brought me years ago that were pieces of Crazy Horse Mountain as it's being carved, which are really special to me. But I'm thinking of finding just a small piece of granite and having it wrapped in gold wire. That would be a perfect way of, you know, working with the energies of Lemuria for this next decade. And that's just kind of some extra information there. Okay. As a refresher, now if you want more information on the 777 frequency wave and the 777 days, besides what here, I suggest you go listen to the previous chat. That was was it July 24th, I think, was the last chat. It was, I can't remember what it was titled. If one of you ladies can remember in the moment and share that, walk away, I do remember that. Okay. But here is, this was not to go into all the details, but this was a message about the 777 frequency wave, the 777 frequency wave that came from the Intergalactic Governance Board on the 22nd of July. As we speak, there is a beacon, a light wave, a beam of energy, a frequency wave radiating directly from the center of the 444-2222 dual Stargate portal directly into your current reality experience. It is as a great pulsar, and it pulses in and out of manifest form in slow and gentle pulsating waves. But let it be known, beginning in this moment, which was 7/22/2020 at 5:11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. For the next 777 days of your linear Earth time, the pulsar light wave will continue to increase in intensity. Because of this, the pressure for great upheaval and change will increase within your humanities of Earth's reality experience. Okay, this was associated with the September stone. So in a very general, basic way, you could say that this collective dark night of the soul is going to run in those 777 days. You can see that as a general linear timeline guideline. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it will be over, and when those 777 days ends, which is September 7th, 2022, but those are going to be, now I'm going to give you some dates associated with, because I told you that I would last time, and this is work that we're going to be doing for the next few years associated with the 777 days, the 777, the wave of responsibility, okay, also emanates out of the 444-2222 dual Stargate portal. We just heard that. We were just given that information, okay? The days run from July 22nd, 2020 through September 7th, 2022. Started on, okay, here are significant dates if you want to write these dates down just to have, you know, for, you know, if you're like me, it's like, oh, where did I put those notes? But you'll have them somewhere if you want. If not, don't worry about it. When the time comes to do the work on these dates, we'll have information about them. Okay, of course, the start date, July 22nd, 2020. Then the next, so from here, the next date of significance, okay, will be, now I find this interesting and significant. The details of the significance, I don't have all of it yet, but I will. It'll come up. It'll show itself. But so it starts, it's Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. The next significant date is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021, okay? The next one after that is Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021. Then after that, we have Saturday, April 30th, 2022. And then the completion date of Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. I find it very significant and not a coincidence. Just all the detailed information I don't know yet. Every one of those days is a Wednesday except for Saturday, April 30th, 2022. So there's going to be, I can tell you right here and now, just knowing that bit of information, there's going to be something more highly significant about that particular date associated with the 777 days. Now here's a general energy overview. From July 22nd through early April 2021, so that 1st through April 7th, okay, it's going to be extremely difficult. That's what we're in now. That's the portion, the phase, the whatever term you want to use that we're in right now, okay? Then from mid-April, so in other words, once we hit that April 7th, 2021, so from early to mid-April 2021 to the end of 2021, it's going to be even more difficult, but in a bit of a different way in the physical realms. Many will feel physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually very tired, and the desire to want to stop, give up, and get some rest is going to become extremely intense. There's going to be a need to keep a close eye on ourselves and on each other energetically, okay? So we just think it's tough right now. It's really not yet. Now, so that's from early next spring, 2021 to the end of 2021, okay, through December. Now from mid-December 2021 through early September 2022. So in other words, when the 777 days complete, that third, okay, and what this is, if you look at the dates, what this is that this 777 days has been broken into thirds. All right. So from mid-December 2021 through early September to the end, okay, the overwhelming sense of desperation and just wanting to quit is going to make so many, awakened and unawakened alike, feel numb and hopeless. But as odd as it may sound, this sense of numb hopelessness is what will be the trigger to ignite the spark of hope. That it just might be possible that humanity will survive and actually come together and create a new reality that will lead to the light of a new day. So if you understand that, if you look at, that's what I'm talking about, you can see how the 777 days are really broken down into these segments, kind of what we've been talking about, a dark night of the soul, the stages of the dark night of the soul. So in a very basic sense, the 777 days are a guideline to the collective dark night of the soul that we've just entered into. See that as a positive bit of information. Understand why that information was brought forward to us. It was brought forward to us for us to go, okay, we know what we're working with here. If we know what we're working with, if we know what's going on, then even in those darkest moments, in that dark night of the soul, that collective dark night of the soul, we can go, okay, breathe deep, breathe deep. We can be the leaders. We can be the inspiration, okay, for ourselves and for each other and for everyone, for the collective, even just energetically, when we come together and work and be that space holder. That's our work. All right. Any questions, comments, anything here? Anyone? No? Okay. Then we're going to go on and I'm going to throw some more information at you so that we can finish up this chat, and we'll go into some type of meditation. I really don't know what, but those are always the most fun. We get to go where we're led in the moment. Okay, so let me throw this information at you. Remember, this is all just information that I'm giving an overview of upcoming main activation dates and of significance. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about the Lion's Gate. That is really the biggest reason we decided to do this chat on today instead of like after the weekend when Ariane, because I mentioned in the last chat, someone asked about the Lion's Gate, okay, that traditionally is held or observed, we'll just say, on the 8th of August. Well, I wanted to do this chat and share this information before then, because I mentioned in the last chat with the work that we're doing now here, remember, there is no going back. Okay, if you just look at what's going on globally with this pandemic and this whole, new normal and all of this and all of, the things that we're understanding, there's no going back. A dark night of the soul does not take you traipsing through hell just to take you back into hell. Remember, it's a rebirth. It's a letting go of what no longer serves. It's so you can be reborn into the light of a new day. All right. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and read the notes so we can move through this quickly. All right. Dragon's Gate information. Okay. Dates. Dates of significance. Dragon's Gate now, which was always, and I'm going to explain this in a minute, which was always associated with the Lion's Gate. First of all, what is the Dragon's Gate? The Dragon's Gate is a very specific energy portal that appears only every, general time, linear time, 6,000 years or so. It comes in at the beginning and the end of what we currently term golden age cycles. It always comes around for an 11-year period. Okay. It made its first appearance in 2015, its first opening in 2016. It will make its last opening in 2024 and its last appearance in 2025. And then it will not come back around for a minimum of another 6,000 plus or minus years. That's all relative to basically what reality timeline collectively we choose to travel, but that's a general sense of it, okay? So my question, when they told me that the Lion's Gate was no longer relative, okay, and I'll explain why. The Lion's Gate is no longer relative, as I shared in the last IKoK chat. The dates, and this is why the dates, Navari told us this, dates of activations and traditional alignments that are still significant for use in the creation of your collective reality are shifting to fit with the creation of the choosing and the creating of a new collective reality experience. Think about it. These things, activations, traditions, etc., are pieces of the energy weavings that create and maintain collective reality experiences. If you continue to adhering to the old alignments, planetary energy alignments, you keep recreating and maintaining the same reality experience. Okay, now, so some of them are going to change and some aren't. A large part of my sacred contractual work in this lifetime is bringing in ancient future knowledge back into the collective conscious mind right now. And a big part of that, especially since I signed the new contract, my new sacred contract, because the one that I came in with finalized, is a lot of activation of new portals and new chakras and new pieces of weavings to use to create a new collective reality. All right. So that's why. So that explains to us why the Lion's Gate is no longer relative. So, well, then my question was, well, okay, guys, you told me that, years ago, the Dragon's Gate is associated with the Lion's Gate. It comes out of it. It's nested within it, if you will. So what happens to the Dragon's Gate? This is basic information about the Dragon's Gate and why the Lion's Gate is no longer relative to our work of creating a collective reality. There will be more detailed information about this in the next IKoK chat when we'll actually be doing the 2020 Dragon's Gate work. The next chat is scheduled for August 21st, 22nd, timeline straddling here, which will actually be when the Dragon's Gate is open this year. All right. If the Lion's Gate is no longer relevant, then what happens to the Dragon's Gate? Dragon's Gate now has changed its association with the Lion's Gate to that of the 444-2222 dual Stargate portal. Well, it makes perfect sense to me now why we opened that portal in February. Okay. The 440, okay. I shared the following when we did the activation work of the 444-22 dual Stargate portal. The 444 portal is an energy portal that is about the expansion of multidimensional reality. Form, meaning physical form. Remember, the work of going galactic is getting set. We're doing the prep work for that, okay, which will be a few years down the line. But we're doing the prep work now for that. The 2222 portal is a very specific multidimensional time travel portal. Okay, so we've got multidimensional form and time travel. Remember, the 444-2222 dual Stargate portal alignment leads us, this is what was shared with us before we even opened it, okay? Information about why. It leads us across the bridge into our galactic collective experience and deep into multidimensional reality and gives us access to many collective reality timeline experiences. So in other words, it gives us access to different collective reality timelines to choose from other than the one we're sitting on right now. Okay, this is very basic, but it's a start. And this is, I'm just going to read this, and this is where we're going to leave it because the next chat will be the actual work, and there'll be a lot more detailed information. So the Lion's Gate is a masculine energy frequency Stargate alignment associated with the energy of Leo. we are moving away from Leo into Virgo, into the feminine maiden mother frequency. So we're moving from Leo, Sirius, because remember, the Lionsgate portal has for at least since, and we're just going to go right here, at least since the days of ancient Egypt. Okay, look at all of what we consider ancient civilizations, okay, on the planet, currently on the planet, okay, the ones that are no longer around, or even just their descendants are still around. They all speak of a direct connection and communication with Sirius and the Pleiades. Okay, all of them. Okay, and just for the record, I've always been a big believer and done work with the Lionsgate. In the past years, I have written extensively frequency reports about it. They were relative then. They're not relative now, very basically stated, because this collective has chosen, okay, the 17.8 ATKI came up and said, okay, time to balance this out, because this all has to be balanced so that we can go galactic. Humanity can go galactic. Work's got to be done. You can't drag this stuff with you, and you can't go holding and existing within this low frequency. So we're moving. Okay, remember I mentioned about the work we would eventually be doing of connecting to and activating what is known as the planetary, well, I didn't mention that yet. Here, let me go back. I didn't read those. Okay, the dates I'm talking about. Dragon's Gate, August 22nd, 2020, has moved from connection to the Lion's Gate, as the Lion's Gate is no longer significant. Then on September 7th of 2020, we're going to be doing these next three planetary transpersonal chakras come in. Each of them have 3 activations before they're fully activated. The next one will be on September 7th. It would be the first activation of the planetary transpersonal Earth Star chakra. We'll be doing that work. Then on September 11th, we'll be doing the second of 3 of the planetary transpersonal Soul Star chakra. We did the first one last September 11th. Then on September 22nd of 2022, we will do the first activation of 3 of the planetary transpersonal Zeal chakra, star chakra, okay? Now, the dates for all 9 of those activations run from the years 2019 through the years 2028. So once all of those are completed, once all the planetary transpersonal chakras are fully activated, then we will begin the process of connecting with opening and activating the planetary stellar gateway chakra portal. All right. Now, also this year, September 22nd is our September equinox. That is significant. That is still part of the weaving process for the creation of the new reality, okay, that we're looking to assist with manifesting. And then I don't have the dates of this one yet. I will have before the next chat, but the Emerald Core, the initial activation of the Emerald Core will be sometime between the end of August and the end of December of this year. Those who worked with me earlier and me and Kira in previous, we did 3 seedings, what are called seedings of the Emerald Core. When that work comes up, there'll be a lot more information about that. Okay, so that's where we go. Remember I mentioned about the work we would eventually be doing of connecting to and activating what is known as the planetary stellar gateway. Okay, I'm going to share some information I received on August 4th about the Dragon's Gate and all of these planetary transpersonal chakras we are activating. The movement away, okay, the movement away from Leo, Sirius, into Virgo, Spica. Some of this information I already knew, but it was added to, and more information will be forthcoming as I have time to prepare for the Dragon's Gate work of August 22nd, 2020. Oh, by the way, Virgo Spica is energy and symbology that deals with the whole goal of the complete evolutionary process of humanity. Complete meaning physical and spiritual evolution. With the changes we've been talking about in dates and activations, this puts the Dragon's Gate appearance at the start of the Virgo season, astronomically and astrologically, and the planetary transpersonal seal star chakra work at the end of the Virgo season. The Dragon's Gate's last appearance will be in 2025, and it won't come back around for another 6,000 plus minus linear Earth years. The Dragon's Gate is associated with the opening and closing of what we currently call golden ages. So very simply stated, the movement away, here's what you've all been waiting for. Okay, very simply stated, the movement away from the work with the Lion's Gate starts us out of alignment with one area of our galactic and intergalactic connections, and leads us into the next steps of our consciously connecting to our galactic collective reality timeline experience. Even more simply stated, we are moving beyond our relationship with Sirius and the Pleiades as our strongest and closest mentors. Instead, we are beginning our movement towards coming to exist in equal knowledge with them. And this will lead us to our next mentor-teacher relationships with other star civilizations and galactic civilizations who exist and reside within the greater universal galactic expanse of the Virgo supercluster. One of these new mentor-teacher star civilizations is that where the Intergalactic Governance Board resides. So there's much more to understand about this, but this is sufficient for now. Remember, 2020 is the year humanity of Earth goes galactic. This is where we start our journey into becoming conscious, physical, galactic citizens. I know that's a lot of information. Sorry, but that's my job. Don't worry about, like I said, see this as seed planting of all this information. If you're interested in continuing working with the IKoK, we're going to continue, with what we do every month. Plus, we're going to start some in-depth group energy work, because that's what we're being called to. That's what this is all about. Is there anything anyone would like to say or ask before we begin closing this chat down for the evening? Kabaha, Ariane? No? Anyone else? Okay. I want to let everyone know we're extremely grateful that you've joined us this evening live, or if you would join us in no time, no space, and watch this in recording on our YouTube channel. I also want to let everyone know that after we finish with our meditation, and in the recording, we will stay on for a few minutes and chat. If you're of a mind to, you're more than welcome to stay on and chat with us. We always like to end these chats on a note of silence. So we are going to now begin moving into a meditative state and see where we are led. It's truly an honor. Thank you all so much. Kabaha, Ariane, would you all like to say good evening or good day or goodbye before we end? Bonsoir.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Feeling so humble and honored. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining and for listening to us from the world of UFOs and witchy hats. I'd just like to say thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So if everyone will just find a comfortable position and take a few deep breaths and bring yourself to center. We're going to see where we are led this evening. Breathe in, out, and relax. I'd like to ask that you simply allow all of the information that has been shared this evening to simply settle into your energetic form in a way that feels most comfortable and most natural. Maybe make note in the moment, in the mental human brain, of any specific information that really spoke to you in the moment. Just a mental note, whatever comes to mind. I want to remind everyone that as difficult as reality on Earth, being human, appears to be right now, this is still an exquisite, beautiful, amazing experience and planet. I would like to ask that each of you physically place your hands over your heart, one on top of the other, and whatever feels natural in your relaxed position. I'd like for you to feel your breath moving in and out, the chest rise and fall gently. And as it does, I want you to visualize before you a massive expanse of beautiful starry portal, the 444-2222 dual Stargate portal. Continue to pay attention to the rise and fall of your body as you breathe naturally and gently. And you move your consciousness, just simply allow it to float into this beautiful, amazing Stargate portal, dual Stargate portal. And within it, you may see or you may not. You may feel or you may not, but you will know that the expanse of this universe is infinite, that the options for realities to be experienced are infinite, and they run the gamut from horrendous and dark to magnificent and light. And you can see this and you can feel this and you can sense this all around you. And even those of the darkness, you can see and feel and sense that at the core of it all, there is simply one consciousness experiencing its self. And you are that consciousness. And you are a part of that consciousness. Just as a drop of water is a part of the ocean, and the ocean recognizes every drop of water that it is. There is no separation, there is only perspective and choice. And breathe deep and relax into this and float ever deeper into this amazing dual portal as you become one with the portal itself. You are the opening. You, the consciousness you know as you, exists and does not exist all simultaneously. And you are the collective mind. You are the experience and the experiencer. Kara unche anapa'u nagyan. I am the ancient future transitioning immortal. Kara unche nagyan jenehe kahua ka'ai ani. I am the ancient future immortal birthing the genesis of sacred lands. Kara unche prana. I am the ancient future breath of life. Kara unche prana. Kara unche prana. Kara unche prana.